Moments later.
Are you ready, ladies and gentlemen, tankers of Blitz Universe? Are you ready to get the FV301? Well, you have to play this tank first then, the Comet, the tier 7 British medium tank that is capable of dealing a lot of damage, but at just 160 per shot. This, in my opinion, is the ultimate flanking tank at tier 7 because it has a high rate of fire. The armor is not really there, apart from the front of the turret maybe. You will bounce the occasional shot if you go hill down because it is a British tank. That means it has good gun depression, as aptly shown here by Unarmed Legend. But let's hop into two games. Discuss a little bit about this tank. Is it a keeper or not? Should you waste or use free XP on the FV301 and just grind it out to get that tier 8 British light tank, which will hit in update 7.0 next week? In my opinion, and that's just my opinion, this is one of the tanks that have kind of suffered from the recent change in armor, basically. I mean, it still has a good gun, as you can see. It's pretty snappy. And as I mentioned, the gun depression is pretty nifty. I mean, 12 degrees allows you to basically go anywhere on any map in World of Tanks Blitz and use the gun. Of course, there will be really steep inclines where you can't sit. But it is a really flexible tank in that regard. Mobility, it is good. It's not epic, it's just good. Dispersion upon movement and rotation, not that brilliant, but base dispersion quite good. And what you do have is an epic rate of fire. Your base DPM is 2503, and that means you can just churn through enemies if you catch them off guard and if you have flanking shots. And that little sentence is, in my opinion, the key of this tank. You have to get flanking shots. You have to be on the side of tanks to be able to really hurt them. If you are a top tier tank, a bit less so. Of course, there's enemies which still have big guns, like a KV2 for example, like a Thunder which has 400, but then has a long reload, and you will be able to punch through the lower plate and the upper plate. But the KV4 is going to get buffed in update 7.0. The IS has just been buffed. The KV3 has been buffed. The Black Prince has a monstrous hit point pool and has the same gun as you have and quite good frontal armor, etc., etc. You're looking again. You're going up against an IS5 and an IS6 and a KV5, and that means that you will have to be. You have to be flanking. You have to be sneaky in this tank, because if you're not sneaky, if you don't know where to position, you will suffer. It is a good... Ooh, that was a sneaky shot by Unarmed Legend. That means that the ISU 122S is somewhere over there, because he is the SU 100. Snap! Swing the gun around and kill him. Yes, here we go. That's good. That's 2 versus 3 now, but he still has some work to do, as you can see. That KV2 is still knocking about. That ISU 122S is still somewhere and not spotted. Gotta keep an eye out on what's happening, buddy, because it's 1 versus 3 at the moment. And that means you have to, yes, get the bounce on the front, on the turret top, because you will not get a lot of bounces. But that mantlet, that is not bad at all. It is not a guaranteed pen, because the turret face, that's only 111 mils, and 111 mils at just a little bit of an incline. 5 degrees, a little bit of an angle, but not much. But if you can manage to hide your hull and the top of the turret as well, because the cupola is an obvious weak spot. I mean, the turret from the mantlet, that's space armor 110, and then you have 110 behind the mantlet as well. So you're looking at an effective thickness of about 300 to 350, maybe up to 400 in total. That's bouncy. That is indeed bouncy. But it's nothing to rely upon. So Unarmed Legend is doing the right thing. He's running away. He was playing with his life, I think, against the KV2 in the beginning. And he's lucky that the ISU 122S does not manage to put a shot into him because he does use the gun depression comfortably. And then these guys are going to go for a no cap kill all scenario rather than sit there and make an legend move because he had nowhere to go basically. They just charge in. The ISU 122S gets one more shot in and then he rolls back and the KV2 misses. You gotta thank RNG. You gotta thank the game sometimes for teammates like this, and especially red teams like this, because he just about clears the ISU 122S and then moves forward and can go around the KV2, who has a broken engine. So this game is done, bar the shouting. But you could also see that the amount of hit points that he had quickly vanished. So if you're gonna drive this tank, and you kind of have to if you don't want to spend your free XP in getting the FV300 in the next update, starting from Wednesday on, then this tank I think is a good training tank. Wargaming has stated on the Twitter account and on the Facebook, I think, like, a good true light tank. The Vickers CR has no armor. The 54 lightweight says hold my beer. Sheridan says, yeah. I mean, the British Lights don't have armor. The Comet has some armor, but not much. So this tank is indeed the sneaky, flanky, use your DPM type of tank, the Sniper Schnitzel. That's how you have to use this tank, and that's how you have to use the FV301 and the Vickers CR, the Vickers 105 as well. I'm going to dropping a little video, which is still from Open Test obviously, on the Vickers 105. I'm going to show you a little few bits and then give you my advice on what I think you should do on the tank, what you should use on the tank. And we have one more game here sent in by David Clip 002 from the Swarm clan. And you can see what he's doing. He's going to a position where he could use his gun depression if needed, but I mean, he doesn't have to use it. And does a little bit of a stunt move. He didn't have to use the gun depression, but if he was spotted, he would have had an escape route as well. AMX 1390 is going in, and hello Borsig, here we go, and this is a DPM, one shot, 137, and another shot in. You might be able to use your HE on the gun shield, that would be good, and then maybe even pop adrenaline, but this Borsig, he is sitting there, he has nowhere to go. HE shell through the side, thank you very much. I'm carrying 7 HE shells myself, and I think I might just do like 3 or 4, it's just not worth it. And why isn't it worth it? There's light tanks in the game, isn't there, Martin? You should carry HE, yes, but at the same time, no. The penetration on the HE shells is 22, and that is with calibrated shells. 22 is just paltry, it's nothing, basically. And that's because of the fact that you have a 77mm gun, you don't have a big alpha shot. You do have 200, which is, again, not brilliant, and in a tier 8 battle, it's just, yeah, it's a lowest of the pack. If you're up against an SP1C, for example, just flat on, Borsig flat on, then it might work, but it will not work against other tanks. And if you then have to punch through a KV, just look at it, he's got APCR. You see that? That's AP, still trying to go AP, here he goes on APCR, 1 shot. And 2 shot, and he quickly switched to AP to see if he was able to shoot this KV5 and penetrate it, but that's just a lot of red and he has to keep moving. Yet another shot in, here we go. 135 obviously, of average alpha damage, and one more, square off, make the KV5 stop a little bit so you can sort of fold your tank around the red heavy. Let's shoot him again. Yes, here we go. 128 roll, still on APCR. One more shot. Yes, thank you very much. That's a good roll on APCR. The KV5 has a dead gunner as well. 136. That's an average roll, and we've cleared him. It takes forever. It takes so much time to clear heavy tanks, and especially well armored heavy tanks like a KV5. I mean, it has got weak spots, but still, it is a well armored heavy tank. And David is somewhat racking up the damage and puts a shot into this Comet, and then he can shoot the Comet again. There we go. VK was using HE. I'm not quite sure what that green teammate meant by VK use HE. Was he really telling the Reds what to do? But anyways, this is Comet gameplay. Look at the gun depression. Hello, SU. We can shoot you just fine and dandy. And here we go. Thank you very much. He misses. Shell whizzes past, and then you can trade. Then you can shoot the Comet and roll around and shoot him again. For above 3k damage, 160 blocked only. Not a lot, but it is a block shot. And then missed the last, bounced the last shot on the vehicle on an OMP and up the ass for the last kill. 5 kills, as you can see, 3,172 damage dealt. And no, he wasn't a cheat, he just played it to perfection and lost credits. Because he spammed the APCR like a true classy. But he got an Hoskins medal. And just a textbook example of how to play a Comet. And as said, I think it's the best training tank for the upcoming British light tanks. Thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you all on the next one. Cheers. Happy tanking.